You don't like my music asks, who would Jesus deport? I think that's a fascinating question, because I think at the end of the day, I think he might look around and go, deport them to where? Yeah, I'm curious about that, folks. What do you think about that concept? What would Jesus say about deportation? What would Jesus say about the concept of deportation? Miamik says, I don't think Jesus would agree with deportation. The land belongs to the Lord, not us. And if we're supposed to help the wanderer, help the stranger, why would we turn them away? Great point. I want to talk about a comment that I received, because we're talking about immigration. We're talking about the foreigner, the migrants, and all that kind of stuff. I want to share with you a comment that I received, and it was a thinker. It was a thinker. So, let's not jump to any conclusions. Let's read it and let it speak to us. You are to love God, then your neighbor as yourself. There is nothing there that says, let your neighbor invade your home. Now, I want you to think about that from a micro scale and from a macro scale. And what I mean by that is your home being the place where you live, whether it's a house or an apartment or a cabin or whatever it may be. There's nothing saying that, nothing there in the Bible that says, let your neighbor invade your home. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Nothing there that says we should let people break in and take what we have and fill our space and, again, invade, become a pestilence upon our home, become a pestilence upon our place of habitation. There is nothing there in the Bible that says that. And from a macro scale, nation being our home, this area, this community, this province, this territory, whatever it happens to be, there is nothing there that says we should let our neighbor, those of another country, come and invade our space, invade our community, our province, our state, our country, whatever it may be. Absolutely. There's nothing in the Bible that says anything about it. So then what are we supposed to do with this? Yes, I'm supposed to love my neighbor, but no, it doesn't say that I'm supposed to let them invade my home. Whatever I happen to mean by home. Whoever I happen to mean as my neighbor. Now, as I process this, okay, so yes, that's true. But if you go a little bit deeper, if you think a little bit deeper, why would your neighbor invade your home? Why is it that your neighbor would feel the need to invade your home? Again, regardless of what you mean by neighbor and regardless of what you mean by home, why is it that your neighbor would feel the need, the desire, the want to invade your home? Let that be the question. Because if that's the question, what it tells us, I think, what the answers tell us, is that there is great need. Generally speaking, a person doesn't want to invade someone else's home unless there's a great need. They don't want to break in. People don't want to commit a crime unless they're trying to meet a need. It's the great motivator for just about everything. I do what I do for the reasons that I do them. I have a need that I'm trying to meet. Now, whether that need is good and pure, or whether that need is silly, or whether that need is mythical, whether that need is manufactured, I don't know. But the need feels very real to the person who's trying to meet it, which is why they will do sometimes the most desperate things. So if our neighbor feels the need to invade our space, it's because they have a need. And if our neighbor feels the need to invade our space because they need a roof over their head, because their bellies are empty, because they're feeling desperation, because they're unhoused, because they're underhoused, because they feel like being out in the elements is dangerous, because they feel being where they are is risky. It's too challenging, because their children are suffering, then that tells us that we have failed to meet the needs of our neighbors where they are. We as individuals, we as communities, we as provinces and states and countries have failed to meet the actual needs of the people where they are. That's why they leave. That's why they leave where they are to quote unquote invade our space. It really is as simple as that. If we were following that commandment of loving God with all of our heart, mind, soul, and body, and loving our neighbors as ourselves, and recognizing that by loving our neighbors as ourselves, we are indeed loving our God with all of our heart, mind, soul, and body, if we actually took that seriously and applied that to our neighbor, all of us did it. If we did it as nations, as policy, recognizing that as policy, that it is our responsibility to take care of the people within our territory. And one of the ways we can take care of the people within our space is to help our neighbors live the best possible life they can where they are. Oh my God, what a world. What a world that would be. Because we'd be providing for people in their habitat, in their space. We'd be providing for people in a way that nourishes them and feeds them. And we'd be providing for people in a way that gives them the opportunity to stay where they are. We would be providing for people in a way, again, whatever the context may be, however we view neighbor and however we view home, we would be providing for people in a way that their needs would change. That they no longer feel the need to, quote unquote, invade our home. So while that statement, while that comment, there's nothing there in the Bible that says, let your neighbor invade your home. If we were truly following the words, our neighbors would never feel the need to invade our home. Our neighbors would never see the need to leave where they are. They would not perceive the danger and discomfort. They would not perceive the suffering. They would not observe the risk where they are that would force them to, quote unquote, invade their neighbors' homes. This migration is a response. Refugees, people who seek refuge in foreign countries, hundreds, thousands of miles away from where they were born, from where they dreamt of raising their kids, from where their parents and their grandparents and their great-grandparents established their lives. This is a response to issues and to trouble. Nobody wakes up and goes, you know what? Despite the fact that I have a great life right here, like I am killing it. This is awesome. This is amazing. Right here where I am, this is where I was supposed to be. This is where I was meant to be. This is where I am getting, like everything is just raining down for Ed. Everything is going my way. Despite all that, nah, I'm going to walk 2,000 miles with everything I own strapped to my back, experience all kinds of dangers and all kinds of risks. And then I'm going to go someplace where I got to start completely from, where I don't know anybody and I'm starting from scratch. No, nobody does that. People are coming to our countries as a response to what is going on in their countries. People are, quote unquote, invading our homes in response to what is going on in their homes. We don't want that. Take care of it. Take care of them. Take care of your neighbor. Provide for your neighbor. Give to your neighbor. Feed your neighbor. Protect your neighbor. Amen.